Hello, and welcome to our Wednesday Healing and Meditating service. My name's Reverend Gary Kanye, and it's my delight that we offer this service each week to bring forth the wisdom and knowledge of health and wholeness. And tonight we have a special treat. We have Dr. Phyllis Burgess, licensed unit teacher, and Roxanna Deane to bring some clarity to racism and to these issues that we're looking at in our lives right now. And in response to that, I want to invite you to come join me tomorrow night right downtown New Braunfels on the plaza, because the MLK Junior Association is providing a prayer vigil at 6 o'clock. And this is the same organization that sponsors the Martin Luther King Jr. March that we join every year. So if you'd like to come along, bring a mask, and let's hold in prayer for this, our times. And with no further delay, I want to turn this evening over to Dr. Phyllis and Roxanna.
Hi, everyone. Most of you may know me, but if you don't, I'm Dr. Phyllis Burgess. I am from a small town in North Carolina, whom we were about the last ones that actually instituted integration into my school. I came from a small town where blacks lived on one side of the railroad, literally. There was a railroad track that ran that split the town, and whites lived on the other. So what I want to talk about today is, as you know, the incident with George Floyd rocked many people, and I'm no exception to that. It's taken me at least up to now to even be able to speak on it without being very, very angry. But I want to look at racism, giving you a little bit of background in history so that hopefully you will understand some of the feelings that blacks have about what's going on today, not being treated fairly, not being treated equally, and having to fight for everything that they get. So racism and color has been a barrier and has been the knee on black people's neck for many years, ever since they came into this country in the 1600s. Although they helped build the country and prosper the country, they were never valued and never looked at as human beings. And even with the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, the "we the people" and the "we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those have not necessarily applied to blacks. And this country was not built with blacks in mind to obtain the same rights as our counterpart, whites. And as far as the the issue with the policemen, law enforcement in the South, in case you didn't know, for the South, it began as a slave patrol. Basically, it was a team of vigilantes that their duty was to do three things. First one was to chase down and recapture runaway slaves and return them to their masters. Second, to provide a form of organized terror to deter any other revolts among black slaves. And third, to maintain a form of discipline for slave workers who were subject to summary justice outside the law if they violated any of the plantation rules. Then, following the Civil War, these vigilante-style police evolved with the primary intent of controlling the freed slaves. At this point, they were laborers working in the agriculture field, and the police was there to enforce the Jim Crow laws. And any infraction of those laws, be it small or large, black people were harshly punished for that. There was also times when there was a lot of mob violence that went on against black people that was also allowed by these so-called police people. And all of these things usually happened without any kind of consequences. And still today, even with laws on the books about discrimination, we continue to deal with violence that is perpetrated against black people by the very people who took an oath to care for all citizens, to serve and protect all citizens. And not all citizens are served and protected in the same way. Racism is actually ingrained in the fabric of America, so therefore it will be hard to uproot it, so to speak. Hate is past, even today, that exists right now. And now I'm going to bring it even more home in terms of me. I'm a part of an organization, and the organization I'm talking about is being a part of Unity, that has racism and prejudice as a part of its history as well. There was an ordained minister in 1956. Her name was Johnny Coleman. And I don't know if many of you know her or know of her, and I didn't find out about her until not that long ago, probably a few years now. She was ordained a Unity minister. However, when she went through Unity, she was segregated from all the other students because she was black. So now this is an organization that espouses value and being equality and love and integrity. However, it has its own history of racism, and you find it nowhere that I've read anyway. And I've been through the Licensed Unity course. Now, as an organization now, today, I must say it progressed and it has moved forward to become much better and much more diverse. However, this is a part of history. It just is. And you can't get around that. And for me, it's all about owning your stuff. Because you cannot get through something until you're willing to face it head on.
You know, Phyllis, the League of Women Voters is 100 years old this month. And when they were fighting for the right for women to vote in 1920, there were black women who asked to be part of the movement, and they were told no, because what they were told was that we're having a hard enough time getting the vote for white women. If we include black women, we'll never get anywhere. So they were told not to join. And the League did not own that history until more recently, when they realized that they had to tell the truth.
And so now the history is here for everybody. If you have not been awake or awoken, whichever the word is, by what has happened in the last 2 weeks, I don't know what to tell you. My husband and I were traveling, and we travel a lot, as you know, Roxanne. And we went to a Unity, we just happened to stop. There was a Unity church in another state, and I said, well, I want to go to, it was a Sunday, so I said, we're going to go to church today. And my husband and I went to this Unity there, and I'm telling you, I've never felt so black in my life. And it may be unfathomable to think that this could happen in this day and time, but it did. And it really, for my husband, it completely turned him off. And many people think this way, and they have no desire to ever examine the way that they're thinking. Now, the youth that are out there protesting today, they will soon find out, if they have not already, they will soon find out that they're going to come up against these types of mentalities. It may be in their friends, it may be in their families, it may be somebody they don't even know. However, what they're going to need from you is your support and encouragement for them to continue their fight. And that's providing that it's in you. And I think each of us as individuals will have to look within ourselves to see, is this in me to not squash their fire because of my own fears? So, Roxanne, I'm going to have you read what the quote by Maya Angelou, please.
This was in today's Daily Word. Has these things happened? You know, do the best you can until you know better, and when you know better, do better. I have to say that, you know, I'm now 72 years old, and I should have known better. I've lived a life where I've lived in the District of Columbia, where I was surrounded by black people. I know the history. I do know. One of the things that Phyllis told me once when she was my teacher, she said, Roxanna, you cannot read yourself into unity. You cannot read yourself into feeling the oneness. And I knew black history and I knew things, but I didn't feel things. So reading and knowing facts wasn't enough, clearly, because I didn't do anything. So now these last 10 days have also hit me hard, and now I know, and I can't go back. And I have to do things. I'm not sure what is mine to do, but I can't go back. Now I know I have to do good. I have to do better.
So, in the words of Michelle Obama, which if you attended church by Zoom last Sunday, you heard this, but I'm going to reiterate it. Like some of you, I am pained by these recent tragedies, and I am exhausted by a heartbreak that never seems to stop. Right now, it's George. It was Brianna, and it was Ahmaud. Before that, it was Eric. It was Sandra. It was Michael. And the list just goes on and on. Racism is a reality that so many of us grew up learning to just deal with. But if we ever hope to move past it, it can't just be on the people of color to deal with it. It's up to all of us, black and white. Everyone, no matter how well-meaning we think we might be, to be or to do the honest, uncomfortable work, we all need to do the honest and uncomfortable work of rooting it out. It starts with self-examination and listening to those lives that are different from our own. It ends with justice, compassion, and empathy that manifest in our lives and on our streets. I pray we all have the strength for that journey, just as I pray for the souls and the families of those who were taken from us. Now, Miss Obama wrote this on the 29th of May, 2020. It received 1,344,330 likes. Now, I can't say with certainty that all those likes actually acted in some way, but I can say with certainty it's not enough just to agree with something or to like the idea of something now. We have to do something. We are in the power of decision time. And don't just say, I'm not a racist. Be anti-racist. Any remarks, any phrases, any people who do not act in accordance with your truth, you should speak up. Do not allow your fear in the face of making a big decision to cause you to miss out on the opportunity of the now moment. Prayer is great. However, the prayer has to gain feet now. And we need behavior changes and swift actions. And I believe that if you open to the universe and you just intently listen and allow, it will call you to what is yours to do. Whether that be by someone you meet on the street, phone call, a sign, or whatever, the universe will let you know what is yours to do. Then it's upon you to take action. So in a quote from Theodore Roosevelt, he said, "In any moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The next best thing is the wrong thing. But the worst thing you can do is nothing." I understand that there is a lot of shame and guilt and fear, particularly in something that's reconciling this kind of change and that is of this magnitude. However, we all possess a bravery and a courage within us that we now need to call forth to serve us in a way that supports us in serving the greater good, not just ourselves. Now, here's the deal. You can't change anything, as I said, that you're not willing to face head on. And in order to move through this, I'm going to ask you, every one of you, to be willing to face this head on. Now, Leslie gave you all some actions, some things that you can do outside of yourself if you choose to do them. However, what I'm going to ask of you is necessary internal work. And this work, if taken serious, I think will improve and then will make whatever you choose to do outwardly much more effective. So I'm going to ask that you do this. And here is what I'm asking. I want you to, and I'm going to read this just how I wrote it. I want you to open that closet and dig up the dirt you've tried to bury your upbringing and experiences around racism in. I want you to sit down someplace where you will not be disturbed, no music, nothing but silence. The silence of yourself, your thoughts, and your feelings. Bring with you there a tablet, a pen and paper, yes, not a computer, pen and paper, and maybe some Kleenex. I am asking that you write down all the things around racism that you have experienced, all the words, all the phrases, all the deeds, all the actions, the things you've done, you haven't done, the things you said, you wish you would have said, things that have been said around you or done around you by family members and friends and neighbors that you did not speak up about. And it doesn't matter why you didn't speak up. That's irrelevant in this. It's just the fact that you didn't speak up. So all of it. Then examine yourself to see if you still believe or carry any of those ideas with you today. And if you do, or if something you wrote gives you pause, ask yourself why. And sit with that. Don't just move forward. Ask yourself why and sit with that. There is something about writing, and those of you who are out there who may have taken my class, like Roxanne, know that I'm a big proponent of journaling, writing, because I think that, to me, over my years, has been the best way of getting in touch with what's really going on inside me in a way that that doesn't work just speaking or something of that nature. Writing does it. So the reason I'm asking you to do this is because this self-revealing and examination of yourself is a method for releasing and healing. No one but you will see this. And you don't have to write out long sentences and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of up to you. However, no one will see this except you. Because when you are done, I want you to sit with it. I want you to look at it, contemplate some of the things you wrote, and pray in whatever manner works for you to be able to release it. A simple Sue prayer says, "O Great Spirit, keep me from judging a man until I have walked a mile in his moccasins." And if we can do that, just that, we will move. So after you have done this and you have sat with it, you will then burn it. No one will ever see this except you. So you will burn it. You will release it to the element of fire, and you will release the energy that was written in that piece of paper. So those of you who are really serious about wanting to get past this so that you can support the young people that are now coming behind us, that are now pouring their hearts out in the street, just walking and trying to make this right for their generation. I want you to be ready to support them when they come to you. And they are going to come to you because they haven't faced the hard part of it yet. Believe me, they haven't. But when they come to you, you need to be ready within yourself to support them and to give them the encouragement to keep on. Roxanne, do you have anything you'd like to add to that
No,
assignment?
no. I think that sounds like, because they are going to need our support.
They are.
Because they also don't have all the power right now. Mm-hmm. And those of us who are older do have the power. And we're going to have to be part of the movement to push governments to vote, to make a difference in this world. The young people have lit the fire, but we need to help with the fuel, I think. We need to keep the fire burning, because just like those kids at Sandy Hook, not at Sandy Hook, in Florida, when they tried to march to not have gun safety, they didn't get very far because I don't think they had enough support behind them. Mm-hmm. We can't let this go. We can't let this go.
We can't. And there is no going backwards. There is no going backwards. You cannot put your head up under the cover anymore and say, well, I don't know and didn't know and all this kind of stuff, because now you do know.
And if we're not part of the solution, then we're part of the problem.
And if you're not speaking up and you're not doing anything to support what is happening to move us forward, then you're complicit. It's just that simple. Because when we are young, we do things, a lot of the things we hear said around us, that if we were raised in families who were racist, we did what we needed to do to survive, to get through that. However, now you are an adult. You are an adult. You make your own decisions. So now is this decision time for you.
I was in a meeting today, and the people started talking about the protests, though they wanted to say that they support. Really what they wanted to talk about was all the extraneous, the violence, the things that we wished hadn't happened. But that's beside the point. The point of the protest is the point. The rest of it doesn't matter. This is the point, and you have to focus on the point.
And things can always be replaced. And I, just for the record, I was not in favor of burning down buildings and destroying things either. However, things can be replaced. People cannot. George Floyd will never come back. Breonna will never come back. Ahmaud will never come back. So no matter how many buildings that were burned down, none of those people would ever come back. So what we want to prevent now is there being any more names added to that list. So I'd like to end with the affirmation that we had on Sunday, which says, As I meditate upon the truth of God, I give up every thought that does not conform to truth. I'm going to read it again. As I meditate upon the truth of God, I give up every thought that does not conform to truth. And I'm going to close with a prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for teaching us that faith without works is dead. May your love be my fuel to do good deeds for your name. Help me to see and understand the work that you want me to do in this world as your servant. Give me opportunities to live out my faith and bring forth the fruit of good works. May my life be a reflection of my faith. Please remind me that my belief is worth nothing if it's not supported by my actions. And in this we say, thank you, God. And thank all of you for watching and for indulging me. And I hope that each one of you will take my homework advice and sit down with yourselves. Because I consider myself, I've said to Reverend Gary before, a self-cleaning oven. And that's what I call myself. Because I know that for me, these kinds of things that I have just said to you is part of the work. It's part of the work. Because then you can see, you can begin to see then where you are. And then you can move from that space and be more effective in your own life. Thank you all.
Good night.
Good night. Namaste.